great stories coming out of all different parts of not just here in home in West Michigan, but the world. Really, these stories come from all over. This one comes from West Michigan. Let me just ask you: what if you were told that you didn't have long to live? It's happened to this man a couple of times. In fact, it's just part of his story. He's been through quite a bit, and in spite of those circumstances, in spite of what the experts say, he still continues to live a powerful and purpose filled life. Justin Anderson joining us this morning on News Radio Wood 1300 1069 FM. It's West Michigan Live. Justin, appreciate you being here with us today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having
Good.
me.
Absolutely. Kevin DeVries, another good friend from Base Camp, Grace Explorations, joining us as well. And the event is happening this weekend. A pretty powerful story here, Kevin.
Yeah, they keep surfacing, and I spoke at an event, and Justin spoke before me, and I was like, man, we need to have this guy's story at Base Camp. It's powerful. He speaks well, and I think men will be able to relate to it on a number of different levels.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So let's just break it down. Justin, you know, being told you don't have long to live, this has happened a couple of times because of some things you've gone through health wise in your life. But you haven't allowed those things to define you. Tell us a little bit about what exactly they are and how you fought back.
Right. So I was basically born with multiple medical complications. My medical history can stretch from one arm to the other. And as a child, so basically from birth on, I had a lot of complications, and I have what's called Noonan syndrome, which basically is a lot of physical deformities. You can notice my left eye is smaller than my right. I'm legally blind in my left eye. I had what's called a web neck. My neck used to go right from my ear to my shoulder. I have a concave chest that you can put my fist right in my chest. And it was also said that I would be much shorter than the average person. But I think I'm average height for a woman. But that's that. Um, and they basically doctors and specialists. I mean, I was born in 1981. I'm turning 40 this year. Um, so my parents were prepared often that he's not going to make it to this age or to high school, or he's not going to graduate college or get married or have kids, and would always prepare my parents for the worst, because of whatever complication I would have coming up. Um, and from then on, it was a lot of intestinal issues in my stomach from 6 months old. Something from that caused something when I was 8, which caused kind of my big event and almost losing my life at 8 years old. And then it spiraled from there. But I've always had a positive outlook and a positive take on things. My parents and the environment I was in, they didn't allow me to know or think that I was different because of all of my setbacks, if you will.
Yeah, that's it. There are the things that happen to us, and there's what we make of the things that happen to us. And we also get caught up in the identity a lot of times, especially this day and age, like the victim mentality and that identity that a lot of times media want to portray, and people want to talk us into believing that we're victims instead of victors. And it sounds like you discovered something entirely different along your path.
Right. Just some people, when I tell them certain things that have happened to me in the past, and if they've known me a long time or not, even the looks I get or the response I get is, how are you so positive? Like any other person that would go through the things you have gone through wouldn't
Mm.
be where you are, who you are. And my response is always, I didn't have a choice, but I look at that as a way of, I made a choice to look at a different way.
Where did that come from? Where did the strength? Where did I know there's a faith component here?
There is. I mean, I grew up in a church, in a Christian home. I mean, we lived right around the corner from the church. I did go to Sunday school. I was raised in one. That was there, and then that's where the ties in with my massive surgery when I was 8 that almost took me, and a death experience did happen during that, and I guess you could say even strengthened it more as a young kid. Um, but then just always having that support of my family and those in the church, and I had a good youth pastor around me and groups. So I just thankfully was surrounded by a lot of positivity that never made me feel any different.
I know it's been quite a challenging year for a lot of folks in the last year. We've been through quite a bit. But I gotta say also, when we tend to get into trouble sometimes when we can compare ourselves, like with social media or highlight somebody's highlight reel to our behind the scenes. We know what's happening. But what about when we compare our troubles to the troubles of some other folks? Some of the things that happened with us, as you mentioned, the doctors telling you telling your parents all the bad things that could possibly happen. That's what they would do with us when our little girl was in the hospital. Here's what could happen. Here's and listening to the experts can get you in trouble. I think we've seen that over the last year too. It's always good to consult those folks, but to know also at the end that we play a role, but also there's someone in a much higher place that plays a role in those things as well. And knowing that sounds like it's helped you kind of make it through, but also determine your destiny by focusing on your true identity in a lot of ways. Justin Anderson will be speaking at Base Camp this weekend in the barn. And Kevin, I know you're looking forward to sharing this story coming up this weekend.
Yeah, Justin's a great guy, and I think in many ways his story is emblematic of a lot of people's stories, even though we can't relate maybe on the particulars of it. But it's this idea that we all need to get into this hospital, right? And it's not even a hospital with a location or an address, but it's a space. It's a place with people. And for us, it changes. It's in a brewery, it's in a barn, it's outdoors, it's around a bonfire, a restaurant. But the idea is you need to be in this place to allow for some of those things to heal on the inside of you. And that's where I think that positive energy also comes from, is that our faith informs us, and it tells us that there's a bigger picture, and that the best is yet to come, always and continually. And so that gives us the correct context. So we just encourage men to come and be encouraged by this story. I'm proud of Justin for being available to tell this, and I'm proud of the image of Christ that I see in him. And we're just encouraging men to come, and let's all be part of this healing process that happens in community.
Yeah, I know that it's Sunday is Mother's Day, but if you can slip away for a little bit of time that evening, it's a story worth hearing. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. They can just go to Eventbrite and just Google in Base Camp, and we'll pop up immediately there. It's at Wildwood Family Farms. We have several events there in Alto, Michigan. Great location, beautiful surroundings. And yeah, it's been a really good thing. And I'm proud of our guys in our community. We've plowed through this COVID thing, and we meet people where they are. Some people are ready to meet, some people are not. But I'm proud of our guys that they have realized that this is an integral part of their life, and they want to keep that. So I encourage the guys to come out at 5:00 on Sunday night.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about that. As you know, that this last year was challenging for a lot of folks, and I can't imagine facing those challenges without my faith. And Justin, is similar to your life. The things that you facing them without faith, it's a dismal picture. It's a thought that you don't even want to consider. But if you're looking to hear more about this and maybe find out where a guy who's always positive and a good mood, where his hope comes from,
Mm-hmm.
in an authentic way, not something that's just motivational posters and things like that, but real life, real authentic, down in the dirt, and finding out where it comes from, not just pie in the sky. Justin Anderson this weekend. We appreciate you being here with us today, guys. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Put those details online, of course, in our show notes page at woodradio.com.